How would you evaluate how you played tonight?
Yeah, it is what it is. Not great, not what I wanted. But win's a win. What can I say, right? Like, so that's why I'm not gonna, overlook it, underlook it, whatever you want to say. Thank you, but I'm gonna enjoy it. So.
How do you balance that? Because you're right, the bottom line is win the game, and you did that, but knowing that the offense just seemed a little out of sync and you didn't play your best.
Yeah, we just gotta keep punching, right? Gonna be brutally honest, like that's not up to our standard. Everybody knows that. Everybody on offense knows that. But that's why we have a good defense. So we got to come out next week, playing a good Oklahoma team off a bye week, right? So they're going to have some stuff for us, and we just got to make sure that we hold on to the little things right, and details, and go after it on Sunday.
Ty, you can see you're trying to get the running game going a lot of different ways, a lot of different people. Yet it's just an area that you continue to struggle in. What else can you try?
Yeah, we just have to have confidence, running the ball, right? Like, I feel like that we're not very confident that we can think that we can run the ball very well right now, and it's all mental, really. Like, we got the good scheme, we got the great calls, got the great players, right? But we just have to want to and understand that like that's what we need to do, right? So we'll take care of it.
Ty, you guys connected on that deep pass, but there are also some moments that you didn't connect. So I guess what can you replicate from when it worked versus the moments where it didn't?
Yeah, that was a great job by Lottie, just split in the middle. Kind of brutal, to be honest with you, right? There was a couple that were underthrown. There was a couple that were overthrown, just kind of didn't find a great rhythm, being honest, right? That's something we need to work on in practice. Hey, we still, threw for 200-something yards, so, it's something that we definitely need to work on.
Ty, what did you see that you didn't like when you called that timeout in the red zone in the second quarter?
Which one was that? The one that
It was right before Daniel Hill's touchdown run.
Yeah. So we were going to run a certain type of play, right? And we were shifting to it, and they ran this funky front, and Parker wasn't sure in the mic point. The clock was running down, and I didn't want to go backwards, so I just wanted to make sure, hey, we got a timeout. We just needed to move faster. Very, very, wasn't intentional getting on the huddle tonight.
What does the next week look like? You talk about trying to bounce back from this performance and not being up to the standard. How do you try to fix that?
Yeah, starts tomorrow, right? Just, gonna look at the tape, move on from it, understand the good, the bad, the ugly, just do the little things right? Like we got a good Oklahoma team coming in here who is fighting for a spot just like we are, and they're gonna bring everything they got. So we have to understand that, grit our teeth and get ready to roll.
Well, you haven't been able to watch the film yet, but what did Blake Baker and their staff do? Did they do some things you guys hadn't prepared for?
Yeah, absolutely, right? Like they had a bye week. We did some stuff that they probably didn't prepare for. But they're pretty good on third down, right? They bring in a dime package, and seven's a good off the edge, right? And protectionally, we just have to make it simple. I felt like that we didn't make it simple, and the grand scheme of things, right? Just hey, you got this guy, you got that guy, and we kind of overthought it a little bit. But that's a good team, right? Like their record may not show it, right? But that's a good defense. They're top 3 in the SEC, and everybody knows like the SEC is the best conference in the country. So yeah.
How have you seen your defense stepping up in critical moments the last 2 games when the offense hasn't maybe been as consistent?
Yeah, very obvious, right? That we need to play better. That's what I tell these guys on defense. That we got your back, but we got to play better for them. So everybody knows that. That's why it's a team game. You know what I mean? Like we count on the defense. Defense counts on us, and that's just part of it.
Are the challenges in the running game bleeding over and making things more challenging for the passing game?
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't say that. I certainly think that if we do run the ball, that it'll open up some stuff. We just have to have confidence in running the ball. That's it. Plain and simple.
Ty, last year's Oklahoma game, do you think that's a motivator for people?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I got in one play, it motivated me. I remember just that warm up, that team meal. Just that whole game of how it felt, and it just felt spooky, to be honest with you. and I don't want that, to have that feeling again this year, especially at our house. With a lot at stake, and it's definitely, it's we're not gonna, think about it and make it about it, but it'll always be remembered. So.
Hey Ty, what was that post-game moment between you and Tyler Booker like? What was it like to see him?
Yeah, it was great. I hadn't seen him since the draft. He's gotten a little slimmer. He used to be big fat boy, but it was great. It was great to see him. That's my best friend. Saw Darian Dalcourt, saw J.C. Latham. 3 of my former teammates. It was just great to see those guys back. I'm sure Book's sitting in my house right now in my recliner, even though I told him that he shouldn't be sitting in there. But yeah, it's great.
Tell us about your dance with Ryan Williams.
Yeah, we talked about it all week. Just kind of something that we wanted to do, especially since he got in the end zone in that 2-minute drive. Just kind of a moment between me and him. A Louisiana dance. So yeah, it was funny.
What is it like to have Lazier back in the lineup tonight?
It's great, right? It gives us another bullet in the chamber. In the wideout room. We got such a great room anyway. But a guy who can just blow the top off things, right? Then you have Ryan and all the other guys, right? Like it's just a great asset to have.
You mentioned the Oklahoma game from last year. Just kind of what went into that spooky feeling? Do you think was it just a place y'all had never been to?
Yeah, a place that we've never been to. I think honestly, right? Like it was. They were in a vulnerable position as well, right? They were fighting for a bowl game or something like that, so they had nothing to lose, and we kind of took them for granted, right? And so that's kind of how our mindset was, that we were just going to go in there and steamroll them, and that wasn't it at all, right? And in the SEC, everybody knows this, that every game's going to be a hard game. So, we're going to make sure that we get our minds right tomorrow.
Just watching from the sideline last year, what was your impression of Brent Venables' defense?
Yeah, he does a lot, right? I remember him at Clemson and, the national championship games, everything that he did, that they were known for it. And I remember watching him on film, and I'm sitting there like, man, like, he's doing stuff that, I never thought a defense coordinator would want to do, right? Guys coming from one end of the field going to the other end. Blitzes, they're very good on third down as well. So, we need to be locked in and make sure that we do the little details right and get our minds right.
Last two. Ty, what element of your game are you wanting to build on this month as you head back into the season?
Yeah, just making the little things, the simple things easy, right? Like, I missed a throw the germ, going to their sideline, right? Like I felt like my feet weren't great. The ball was kind of slipped. I was pretty upset about it, right? Like I just, that's something that could give us a little go around. You know what I mean? Like just give us a little pump up to get stuff going, and like the wide open one, the germ going, going to be a touchdown really. Just stuff like that, right? And it's all mechanics and. Stuff like that, right? That honestly, like later in the season, you get away from that because you're so focused on student and stuff. So that's great, right? Like it's nothing that mentally, nothing physically. It's all mechanics. It's nothing I hadn't done or couldn't do. So excited about it, right? So it's stuff to work on. So I'm gonna go back in the lab tomorrow.
Does this feel at all like a Mizzou game that you're kind of ready to turn the page pretty quickly?
I wouldn't say that, right? The Mizzou game was a great win because we got their place, and we knew that we who we play after that, Tennessee, right? Like that was personal to me. This one is good for us because we need to tell the truth and look in the mirror, right? Like offense, we need to pick it up. Like that's plain and simple how it is. Starts with me, starts with our run game, and we're gonna get it right. This week of practice is going to be a great week. I promise you that. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Ty.
Thank you, Tim.